We are all in the gutter, but some of us are looking at the stars. Oscar Wilde.
I knew it.
I don't believe that Oscar Wilde said that.
Well, it's attributed to him. I feel like there are often like quotes that like get miscontributed to people, you know?
He said either this wallpaper goes or I do, right? That's something that he said for real.
Yeah, I've totally, like, I used to have I have it somewhere still, but I have a quote book.
It's not on Wikipedia. I can't find any proof that he actually said that.
Okay.
Everybody thinks that he said that.
Everybody thinks that he said that, but I have a quote book that I had like in school and everything, and I would write down quotes that I really liked, and I definitely
The wallpaper was in his sick room where he was dying. I just want to make sure if you people didn't get the whole.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, see, I know that like you.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was your pre-laugh. Now we're gonna go full laugh. And then maybe post-laugh if we're lucky.
Yeah, I don't know.
After a few minutes.
Oh my goodness.
And yeah, so in his sick bed when he was dying, one of his last things that he said was like, either this wallpaper goes or I will. Something like that. But he didn't say it like Groucho Marx. Like
I was going to say that sounds like Groucho, but it's just the inflection. So, yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
Ooh, we're back. For another...
Well, I thought you were going somewhere.
No, not particularly, unless you want to talk about Groucho.
And you don't have to.
Yeah.
Because it's shore leave.
That's right.
We don't have to go anywhere. There's nowhere we have to... Oh, we have to go on the shore. But otherwise, I think anybody chooses to spend their shore leave just on the boat.
That's so lame. But... Okay, I say that's so lame, but there has to be... Is there an episode of Star Trek like that? Like, where it's like shore leave and somebody stays on the boat?
There's about the ship? There's about 1 million episodes of Star Trek like that.
Mm-hmm. It is kind of lame, but...
There's got to be. Great question.
I can't think of one off the top of my head, but it just seems like...
Okay, so excluding characters who have no choice, like Guinan's never left the ship.
Yeah.
The Doctor can't leave the ship.
Right.
Forgetting characters like that. That's a great question. There have been characters who just didn't go for some reason. I think Scotty must have
probably
not gone on a shore leave or two, right?
Yeah.
I can't think of anybody.
I know.
Good question.
Which is weird.
There's that episode where it's not really a shore leave, but no, it is a shore leave. They're going to a planet and they have to go to a party first with the guy that runs the station they're going to. And he's like a real chatterbox. Everybody hates him, but they have to get through this party to get to their shore leave. Sure. And everybody goes down, but then Captain Picard forgets his saddle. I was not going to talk about Star Trek, but here we are.
Yes.
And so he goes back.
I brought it up.
He goes back to the ship to get his saddle, and terrorists are taking it over, and it becomes Die Hard.
Yeah,
and
on a ship.
On Enterprise individuals. No, I'm backtracking. Easy mistake. We just talked about the Enterprise episode, 2 Days and 2 Nights, which is the first episode chronologically where they go to Risa. And Picard, Archer, has to go, and he would not go if he had the choice. But everybody drew lots, because apparently they can't just have everybty go.
I'm going to stay, or I'm not.
Crew's only 150 people.
Yeah.
So only half the crew gets to go, and he drew a lot. And so T'Pol's like, it was your system. You know what I mean? You have to respect it. Just go. So he just goes and reads a book and with his dog. And then he gets into a really low stakes intrigue.
Yes.
And the end.
The end. Yeah.
Shore leave. Where I don't have to talk about Star Trek.
Shore leave.
Thank God. We are going to talk about something else.
Yeah. So I guess I'm up first. Oh. And as usual, I have a not so fun story to talk about.
Wow.
I know.
It's Mika's weekly bring down.
Yeah. So who wants to go to the beach? Yay! Who wants to talk about something kind of depressing?
Feline leukemia. Blah, blah.
Oh my God. I am the Debbie Downer of podcasting.
All right. Bring it on.
Okay. So I wanted to talk about the Olympic bid rigging investigation that is currently ongoing in Japan. Did I say something
Do
funny?
tell.
Okay. So this is currently unfolding. It's very ongoing. So as of Monday this week, prosecutors and fair trade watchdog searched offices, including the headquarters of major advertising agency Hakuhodo, on suspicion of rigging bids for contracts related to test events for last year's Tokyo Olympics and Paralympics, just days after raiding another ad giant over the case.
Huh.
So, yeah. As I said, so it is. This case has expanded to include more and more companies. The most recent searches included another advertising firm, Tokyo Agency, and 2 event production companies.
Okay.
The investigation into this case of bid rigging was started after the scandal involving Haruyuki Takahashi, a former Olympic organizing committee executive, who allegedly received 200 million yen, or 1.4 million US dollars, in bribes from 5 different companies. Once that came to light, and of course, Takahashi, and maybe actually this kind of goes what we've come to believe as a lot of with Japanese culture, but he has adamantly denied these charges. So he has not owned up to this at all. No mea culpa from Takahashi.
When the evidence becomes like too much, incontrovertible, then are you like, I'm sorry,
I don't know.
Gomenasai.
This guy may be very much like...
No, wasn't me.
Right, exactly. So just not what you think of as
in the words of your Western philosopher, Shaggy.
Yeah,
it was not me. It was not.
No. So last week, Friday, prosecutors, I can't say that word today, and the Japan Fair Trade Commission raided Japan's top advertising agency, Dentsu, and linked a former senior official of the Tokyo Olympic Organizing Committee and event production company, Sarapresso, after the country's 3rd largest advertising agency, ADK Holdings, reported to the watchdog that it had participated in bid raiding. So ADK did a mea culpa. By reporting the alleged violation of the antitrust law and offering to cooperate with the Japan Fair Trade Commission, ADK is hoping for leniency, such as the avoidance of criminal charges and a reduction in fines.
Right.
But it should be noted that just in October of this year, ADK president Shinichi Ueno was arrested as part of the prosecutor's investigation into bribery, and ADK sent 47 million yen to Takahashi in exchange for preferential treatment of sponsorship contracts for the 2020 Tokyo Olympic and Paralympic Games. So they were already caught with their hand in the cookie jar, and so several weeks later they're like, oh, okay, it was you caught me.
You know what, yeah, it was me, yeah.
So now
now what?
go easy on us.
Yeah, right.
So but this is kind of spiraled, I guess you could say. It is alleged that 26 open bids held in 2018 for the rights to plan 56 test events were rigged, with the amount of the contracts totaling more than 500 million yen, or more than $3.6 million, with the prices of each ranging from 4 million yen to 60 million yen. And they were awarded to 9 companies, which doesn't seem like a lot, including the 6 searched, as well as a consortium. So rigging is suspected in the 26 open bids held in 2018 for the rights to arrange test events, which were awarded to Dentsu and 8 other companies, as well as a consortium. The test events for checking potential problems with operations, security, and guiding audiences were carried out between 2018 and 2021. The organizing committee had created a list of advertising agencies and event firms and categorized them into groups according to their respective experience in each sport. And the list is suspected to have been used in arranging the successful bidders. So it just seems like corruption kind of all the way around. Sports journalist Nobuya Kobayashi said, quote, "Unfortunately, in Japanese society, there has always been a culture in which when you want to do something, you ask for a favor from someone who's powerful. Takahashi has exploited this culture." So
he said with his trilby with the word press stuck in it.
yeah.
It's interesting that he's just, I mean, this is his beat, but he's just like graft. It's just, that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's just, that's the deal.
Yeah.
It's interesting that he is not, but it also feels like he's talking about his country, which is, that's nice that he's keeping it local, I guess. But isn't it just every international sports
It's not
event
great. Like, I didn't actually...
Like the IOC, not a good... The International Olympic Committee, not a great organization. No,
yeah.
pretty corrupt. As we're seeing this year with the World Cup. Oh my God. Not great stuff.
What's going on with the World Cup? I guess that's just going...
Lord and listeners,
yeah,
forgive her.
Yeah.
There's even a John Oliver, and you don't know. You have been busy.
No.
You need some shore leave. Human rights abuses, slavery.
Okay. Oh my God.
What? They wanted to have it in Qatar or Qatar, and you need 11 brand new stadiums or whatever.
Okay.
And they have a lot of money. They're not gonna.
Yeah.
They didn't get rich by spending a lot of money. They're going to get rich by using slave labor. The UAE islands, they're making all the islands, they're building new islands and putting luxury housing on them. You've seen the satellite photos
yeah.
on your Chromecast.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Those are all built with slave labor too.
Really?
Watch the John Oliver.
Okay. All right. I will.
Then there's the chairman of FIFA who is trying to respond. He's not even, I know how people get their jobs. I know how they get these jobs. Just by being rich. By having money and being there. Mm-hmm. It isn't like, as the president of this organization, he's good at organizing football games. And I mean soccer. It isn't that he's even necessarily good at PR or talking on the mic. He can't work the stick. Because he went on like an hour-long thing at some symposium about how, FIFA is really important. And today I feel like a black person. He's not black. I feel like a gay person.
What?
I feel like a disabled. I feel like, yeah. And
Stop talking.
You know what? Forget all those questions I had. You're fine. What do you think was going to happen? It's terrible. Just go on the internet.
That's awful.
Go on the right parts of the internet.
Yeah, right.
If you're on the wrong parts of the internet,
right,
they'll have answers for everything that I pointed out.
Well, I actually hadn't remembered this, but also going back to Olympics, I guess there was a lot of bribery and shady stuff specifically that went on in Salt Lake City not that long ago.
Well, it wasn't recent, but...
Well, yeah. So that was bad. So, but I just think look, we think of, one reason why I wanted to talk about this is because I think it's interesting and it's like a lot of money and this guy is just like not owning up to it at all. Like, yeah, you did this, you knew it was wrong, you did it anyways. But, like, I just think it's interesting that this one company is like, oh, whoopsie.
Are they
whoopsie.
Muppets?
Yeah, right. And then, like, he is just not owning up to it at all. And it's just, we're told that, Japanese people, by and large, and obviously you don't want to generalize an entire culture or anything like that, but they're generally very polite, very law-abiding. But I just think that
assholes are universal.
Yeah, that's true.
They're in all cultures.
That's true. That is definitely true.
Yeah, it's too bad, especially when, and obviously this is used by these organizations as a cover, but the idea is that they're promoting international harmony,
right,
and comity and amity with the games. The point is that we're supposed to be celebrating the world, although they're obviously politicized. Otherwise, we would have gone to Moscow and they would have come to L.A.
Right.
But it doesn't. But it's just they're so corrupt, and they're not good for the cities. I mean, they're good for the vendors, I guess, and the people who own the land, the developers. But they leave a bunch of they're just go on. I don't know. Go on the internet. You could find albums and albums full of deserted, empty Olympic stadiums. They should say that part of look, you want contracting deals, you want some greasy palms, fine, but grease them all the way. And after everybody leaves, then you have to pay to convert the stadium into low-cost housing or something like that, for people who need houses.
Right.
Do something. When the party's over, that's it.
I know. And then it's just taking up a bunch of land. And if you're not going to use it, what a waste. Anyways.
Well, it's a good place to play soccer, I guess. You've been to the Olympics?
I have. I went to the Olympics in 1996 in Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, nothing happened there. Pretty uneventful.
Yeah. That happened it was either the day before I left or the day after I left, but I wasn't there. So I missed it. But yeah, I remember hearing about it and it was pretty scary. So the worst thing that happened to me.
For anybody, I mean, look, we have to remember who our audience is. People don't remember there was a bomb.
Yes, sorry.
A bomb blew up in a park, in a park that they built for the Olympics.
Yes.
And they charged the big fallout was, so to speak, is that they charged the wrong guy, and he was just a security guard. There's a whole movie with don't watch this. It's a bad movie, but there's a John Hamm movie that came out recently about it. But they charged the wrong guy. Yeah, the Clint Eastwood movie, and so don't watch it. But and he was exonerated, but it's he died pretty soon after. It's theorized that all the stress was bad for him. And they did find the guy eventually, but
oh my goodness,
yeah, it's very scary. I remember when that happened.
Yeah,
I was home for summer from college. And I was going to go over to my friend's house because we used to hang out, just till the early morn.
Sure.
And right before I left, I was just flipping through coverage of the Olympics. Mm-hmm. And I think most of the events were done. They were just, talking heads. And then I saw there's been a thing, and they, switched to that feed, and it was the park, and it was all messed up. And so I got in the car and I hauled ass across town to his house. Oh and then we watched that coverage all night.
Wow. So I thought I misheard you. I thought you were at your friend's house and saw that, but you went to your friend's house after you saw that. Got it. Okay.
Both.
Oh,
I began to see it at my house. Then I went and finished watching it at his house.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And this is after Oklahoma City.
Yeah, I remember Oklahoma City.
Which, again, I'm sorry, people, if you weren't born.
Oklahoma City bombing.
If you weren't born, but yeah, that was so, yeah, look, hey, I don't want to take away from September 11th. You're the GOAT.
You will always be the GOAT.
But we were already ready to be scared of stuff.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
So the scariest thing that happened to me at the Olympics was not scary.
Oh my God. The Wuzzle came after you.
No, I did.
Whoever the mascot was.
I did. Yeah, I don't remember that. Burned that out of my mind. I'm not a big mascot person.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I was trying to be very conscientious about pickpockets and that sort of thing. I don't know why. And I was probably fine. But so for some reason I got a wild hair up my ass and thought I will put my cash in my shoe. something I've never done before and I've never done since. And I was collecting pins, Olympic pins, and we were at a little stand or, looking at them, my friend and her mom and her sister and I. And I had taken my money out and I put it down somewhere. Somebody took that money. Because of course they did.
Yeah. And the FBI was busy that day.
It wasn't it was a lot of money for me at the time. It wasn't really that much money, but I was pretty upset. But that was, compared with the bombing, that's nothing. Absolutely nothing. So, yeah, like I said. I'm not trying to make a comparison.
That's okay. All right.
Anyways.
We're shore leave. Getting in trouble. That came out exactly like the Sarah Silverman joke about the events of September 11th.
Did it?
September 11th is a day that I learned that the Starbucks soy chai latte had 900 calories.
Yes.
I had been drinking them every day. But it's also the day that we were attacked. That's what that sounded like.
Yeah.
I went to Oklahoma
right.
City after the bombing.
Really?
Yeah, it was about, I guess the investigation was ongoing, but it was about a few days after they had razed the rest of the building.
Wow.
But all the buildings on the block around the federal building were also going to come down because they had a building fall on them.
Yeah.
So I went there with a friend of mine, and we took pictures of, we're like, I'm done taking pictures of my feet. Let's take some pictures of some homegrown terrorism.
Oh my God.
And we actually snuck into some buildings that we probably shouldn't have. And it's really messed up.
You know what it reminds me of?
Found a foot? No, it's not.
No.
That's the joke. You got to end it with that.
The show For All Mankind, when somebody bombs.
Oh my God, don't do it. Don't
NASA.
do it. No, don't do it. All right.
Anyways.
That was fun.
That was fun.
Thanks for letting us know that the Olympics are a complete travesty.
Yeah.
I want to talk about something that is so old that nobody can get that mad about it.
Go for it.
And that is the story of Pegasus.
All right.
I figure that since we are dealing with Pegasus in the most recent season of Sailor Moon, this isn't Japanese, far from it, literally. But
right.
But I thought maybe a little background.
Okay.
For Cal's mythology mania.
Sounds good.
And we'll talk a little bit about the myths and the origin of Pegasus. But to know the origins of Pegasus, you got to go all the way back to Pegasus' mom, who is Medusa.
Really?
Yes.
How does that happen?
I will tell you how it happens.
Okay.
So Medusa, there's nothing, all these stories are bad.
Okay.
Remember, a trigger warning for everything, because these stories are all just terrible. There's just bad stuff in all these stories.
Right.
But anyway, Medusa, as you know, was one of the Gorgons. Mm-hmm. And not very woke, no #MeToo back then. But
right.
Medusa was cursed because she was arred by Poseidon in the temple of Athena. Great. And so that's her fault, obviously. And so Athena turned her into a Gorgon, a monstrous creature with snake hair. And people look at her, they turn to stone. Mm-hmm. She was one of three sisters. There's three Gorgons.
Okay.
Stheno, Uriel, and Medusa. Medusa is the only mortal Gorgon. The other two are immortal.
Oh, she's immortal. Okay.
Yeah. And so that's all well and good. Now Medusa's just chilling, just being a Gorgon, just doing Gorgon stuff, Gorgon style. And some asshole named Perseus comes in and just cuts her head right off. Yep. Now what's up with that?
Yeah, what is up with that?
Come on. Just cutting people's heads off.
Yeah, it's not cool.
Just minding her own business.
Yeah.
He's on a quest to do some stuff because he is a hero and a demigod and a son of Zeus. He cuts off her head, and out of either her neck or the blood on the ground springs Pegasus.
That is mortifying.
But you know what's weirder?
What?
Another boy sprung up too.
No.
Pegasus has a brother who is a human being.
That's also weird.
Yes. And we don't really know anything else about him. His name is Chrysaor.
Okay.
And that's it. We don't know.
Pegasus' brother, everyone.
I bet
Let's
he
give
was-
him a round of applause.
I bet he was good looking. His
Uh-huh.
name means he who has a golden sword.
Okay.
And that's, like I said, that's about all that we know.
Was not as interesting as a flying horse.
He married the daughter of a Titan
Okay.
and was actually the father of Geryon, who is another giant, another beast. So he had beastie blood in him. This is like maybe recessive genes, dominant genes. Pegasus, full on horse.
Yes.
Because remember, Poseidon, god of horses.
What?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Okay, to start this story,
What,
we got to go back.
seahorses? What?
We got to go back even farther to Poseidon. Yes, Poseidon is the god of horses. Now, just for a second, just go with me. Just think about this, right?
Oh my God.
Just think about this. He had to. It doesn't make any sense. I know. Just forget about it. Don't worry about it. Poseidon is the god of horses. He loves horses and he has a lot of horses. And yes, obviously there are literally seahorses. But as far as I know, and I am not a professor of antiquities, but it isn't like some Greek sailor saw a seahorse and was like, there you go. I got one for you.
Mm.
I don't think that's what it is. I don't think anybody really knows why. I have heard, completely galaxy brain side thing, I have heard that sometimes, like when a wave breaks and there is a crest of the wave, it looks kind of like a horse in its mane, or like a team of horses.
Okay.
And so that might be part of it. And you see this in The Lord of the Rings when Glorfindel, at the borders of Rivendell, stops the riders. He calls upon I think probably one of the Ainur to help him, and the river swells and washes them away, and it's sort of like you see these horses like in the water.
Mm-hmm.
But he was the god of horses mainly because he was in a contest with Athena, and at the founding of Athens, they're both gonna if Athens is like, hey, we're making a city, we don't have a name for it yet.
Uh-huh.
But Poseidon's sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
Uh-huh.
So Athena and Poseidon, what do you got here? Give us. We're gonna have a contest.
Sure.
And Poseidon, remember that in Greek myths they come from a lot of regions. There are a lot of different versions of them, so we don't really know. But in one of the versions of the myths, Poseidon introduces the horse, and he says, "Check this out. It's an animal. It's got 4 legs. It's strong. It can pull and do things for you and do work for you." And they're like, that's pretty good. And I think Athena's thing was olives. She came up with olives. They're like, this is the winner, right? I don't know what to tell you. We got a winner right here.
Right.
We got Tapenade. Come on. You can take your horse.
Oh my gosh.
And so that led to a whole thing. But anyway, he's associated with horses. And so when he, has unlawful, unwanted congress with a woman, the child is a horse.
Okay. I guess that makes sense.
So you don't have to consent to the story either.
No.
So Pegasus is a horse. It's a he, in the myths.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going with that.
Yep.
And Pegasus, they don't really know what the name means. It's possible that it is derived from well.
Okay.
Because he was born near a well, supposedly, and wherever his hoof struck the earth, a spring would spring forth. It would create a spring.
Okay. Well, I mean, son of Poseidon, right?
Yeah.
Water.
Yeah, right.
And a horse.
Yeah. Also, Poseidon is not exactly a chthonic deity, but the Greeks believe that he's also the god of earthquakes, because they believe that the land was sitting on top of water. There was deep subterranean water.
Huh.
And so when the water moved, it created earthquakes.
Interesting.
Gods have a lot. They don't always have things that seem to fit into their pantheons or
Sure.
their portfolios. Thor is a god of agriculture.
Come again?
He is. Well,
Okay.
he's a god of lightning and thunder, and so therefore storms bring rain, and rain supports
Okay.
crops. And so therefore, by a long road, he is a god of farming.
I'm just imagining him using Mjolnir as like a hoe.
Or yeah, he's a tool god. He's definitely
Yeah.
the Mr. Tool guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Right.
so anyway, one of the springs that that Pegasus created was the Hippocrene or the horse spring, which is
Okay.
on Mount Helicon, where the Muses live.
Oh.
And so his springs that he created were often thought to be inspiring. You know, a poet, you drink from them. It's similar to the sort of the spring or well of knowledge that Odin drank from.
Okay.
Because I got Norse mythology on my brain. So anyway, so Pegasus exists and hangs out at this spring. Let's get to Bellerophon. Bellerophon,
Oh my gosh.
the Chimera, and Bellerophon. Bellerophon, we really don't know what his name means. It's possibly comes from a root that means a projectile or like a javelin or an arrow, so something shot. It also could mean to slay, because the last part of his name, Fon or Fontes, he's sometimes called Belafontes, Harry Belafontes, means to slay. So that
Okay.
would mean that there must be somebody named Bolero that he slew at some point, right?
Oh my gosh.
So we don't have the whole story. And he was the son of Eurynome and Glaucus, but maybe not. Maybe he is the son of Poseidon.
Hold up a minute.
It's possible that there was a sexy horse, and one thing led to another.
Oh my god.
And then later on, Glaucus, with the king of Corinth, got a bouncing baby boy
Wow.
who loved oats. And so at some point, something must have happened. We don't really know the whole origin, but something must have happened. He probably killed a family member or somebody important named Bolero or Belarus
Okay.
and got kicked out.
Okay.
So he got kicked out of his town of Corinth, and he had to go to another town. And so he did this. He went to this other town, and the king there is like, I don't want this guy in my town. He murdered somebody over there, but he's here now, and he's my guest. And one of the things, and this is true all over, but definitely in Greek and sometimes Norse mythology, is the idea of xenia, or hospitality.
Mm.
It's translated as like the friendship of a guest, that you welcome a guest, you treat them well, and if anything happens to them in your house, that's on you.
Sure.
Especially if you do it.
Sure.
Then we're talking about maybe we got the Eumenides coming in here, the Furies. You could spill family blood. I don't know why they weren't after Bellerophon for that, if it was like his brother that he
Right.
killed, or harming a guest. That's one of the reasons that, it's bad news. So he says, hey, Bellerophon, my father-in-law has got some sweet digs, King Iobides in Lycia. Go out there. Go hang out with him for a while. And Bellerophon's like, all right, fine. Oh, take this letter with you. Oh, okay, great. The letter says, please remove the head of the person who was carrying this letter.
Oh my god.
He attempted to arm my wife, your daughter. That was not true, of course.
Wow.
So Bellerophon shows up in the court of King Iobides, and he's like, what's up? I got a nice environment here. It's party time. And they partied for 9 days. And after the 9th day, on the 10th day, I guess, he rolled out of bed and he's like, I guess I should read my mail. You know how it is.
Uh-huh.
And he reads the message, the letter that he's got, and he's like, oh, uh-oh. I've been partying with the wrong guy.
Yeah, right.
But if I kill this guy, I'm going to bring the Furies down in my head.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what. Bellerophon, you seem like a strapping young lad. I got a task for you. There's this monster called the Chimera.
Yeah.
And it's been really just driving everybody crazy over in this other country, Caria. It's killing people left and right. It's really bad news. Tell you what, it's got the body of a goat, the head of a lion, and the tail of a serpent, and it breathes fire. But you can take it out, no problem.
Right.
I know you can do this.
Right.
And Bellerophon's like, all right, I guess I'll just do that. Bellerophon doesn't seem like a real smart guy.
Not a thinker.
Sometimes you have real smart heroes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have like, just kind of like chatty dudes who, kill is in his name. He just kills stuff. That's he's just Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
So he's like, I'll do it. Mm-hmm. So on his way to his death, he meets a seer, a famous Corinthian seer named Palladius. And Palladius says, whoa, you can't do this on your own. You're going to need, some backup here. Mm-hmm. So I'll tell you what, sleep in the temple of Athena for a night, and maybe you'll get some inspiration. So he does that, Bellerophon. And as he's sleeping, he has a dream that Athena gave him a golden bridle.
Okay.
And she says, don't sleep, the son of the house of Aeolus, take this golden bridle and sacrifice, a bull to Poseidon, because that's in your family. And you'll be just fine. And he wakes up in the morning and he has this bridle. So he sacrifices the bull and he goes to this spring. It's not the spring on Mount Helios that I talked for. It's a different spring.
Okay.
And so he does it, and he with the bridle, it's got some old magic in it, and he's able to capture and tame Pegasus.
Huh.
So now he's got a flying horse.
Yeah.
This is a good move.
Yeah.
It's a secret tool that'll help us later. So he heads to Lycia to face the Chimera, and this guy's tough. He's breathing fire. This is a hard fight. And he's trying to fly all around. He's shooting arrows. The arrows are doing nothing. So finally he figures out, here's what I'll do. This thing breathes fire. I'm going to take a large block of lead. Don't worry. You think that a man and a horse aren't going to be able to carry very heavy things with them. But they can.
Yeah.
That's very important to the myth of Pegasus.
Yes.
He takes a large block of lead and he puts it on his spear, the tip of his spear. So then he flies right at the Chimera and throws the spear at the mouth of the Chimera. The Chimera breathes fire. It melts the lead. The lead runs down its throat. Can't eat, starves to death. No. And he gets hot molten lead inside of him.
Yeah, that's bad.
So therefore, he's dead.
Yeah, okay.
And Bellerophon comes back to the king, to King Iobates, and he says, I did it. And King Iobates is like, no, you didn't. No, there's no way. No, you didn't do that. Come on. There's absolutely no way you did that. All right. You know what? Fine. Next time bring a head. Or one of them. Any one of the heads would have done. You had three chances. So I'll tell you what. Why don't you go make some war on these other people who I don't like. And so he sends them against two different people, actually. He sends them against the Soliami, who are a neighboring peoples. And he also has him fight the Amazons.
Oh.
The Amazons of myth.
Sure.
Or possibly real. We don't know. And in both cases, he vanquishes them by dropping boulders from Pegasus.
Great.
What does boulder mean in Greek, do you think?
Just a really big rock.
Yeah, just a really big rock, like softball size.
Yeah, right?
I don't know. But anyway, he's dropping boulders on people. Yeah. Rocks fall, Amazons die. That's how we're going to do this.
Like you said, this guy's a Chad, right? Like he's just like really freaking strong.
We don't know how strong. Maybe he puts a bit in Pegasus' mouth and Pegasus is just like, it's a living. We don't know. Later on, he's chilling out. He's told to go take out some pirates. He's just having all the honeydew list. He's having Bellerophon take care of this king. And he sends him out against some pirates. And while he goes to fight the pirates, he takes a nap and a bunch of assassins show up. But he kills every single one of the assassins. In what I'm assuming is a big Sam Worthington is doing slow-mo flips, fight scene.
This guy will not die.
Yeah, he's just killing everybody.
No, yeah.
Then the king's like, all right, screw it. Clearly, this is not working out. He sends his palace guards out to fight Bellerophon, but Bellerophon calls upon Poseidon, who at this point has to be like, I just want to see what this guy's going to do. This is great.
Right.
This is like pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And Poseidon floods the plain of Xanthus near the kingdom. So there's this just like tidal wave coming and this guy on a horse, that's a Sam Worthington moment there, right? But to defend their husbands, right? The wives of these palace guards. The palace women run out of the city and they lift their robes up to expose themselves.
What?
And Bellerophon's like, whoa, no. No, I am not fighting naked women. Forget this. So Bellerophon just takes off. So that was a draw.
Yeah.
And after this, everybody's really embarrassed. And the king is like, all right, forget it. Look, I'm sorry. There's this letter, right? You see this letter? You understand. You understand what I'm doing here? I got a letter. Somebody wrote me a letter and they said to kill you. But obviously this isn't true. You are very noble of a person. And so you can marry my daughter, Philnoene, and you can have half of my kingdom.
Okay.
With many, many fine fields and olives and grapes.
Okay.
And she bore him some children.
All right.
And later on, one of his descendants would be Sarpedon, who was a great warrior and hunter in myth. So anyway, after all this,
yes,
you have commandoed half of Greece at this point. Everybody knows who you are.
Yeah.
Your head's getting pretty big, so big that even Pegasus can't lift it. And this guy's like, I'm pretty great. I beat the Chimera. I beat all these people. Naked women, that was a draw. No losses, no L's. I deserve to sit on Mount Olympus, the home of the gods. And so,
that's not going to
flying
go well.
horse, let's do this. Here we go. And so they fly to Olympus. But on the way, Zeus is seeing this. He sees everything.
Yeah.
And he's like, this guy, I don't think so.
Yeah.
So he sent a fly, a gadfly or a horsefly, to sting Pegasus in that flight. And when he stings him, Pegasus rears back, sending Bellerophon falling back to Earth.
Wow.
But they had fall damage not all the way on. So he doesn't die when he hits the ground. Pegasus does make it to Olympus, where Zeus is like, yeah, that makes sense. Pretty cool horse. Tell you what, you can carry my thunderbolts from now on. So whenever Zeus needs a thunderbolt, Pegasus rolls up in a cart with that. And Bellerophon didn't end so great.
No.
Didn't end so great. He basically wandered this, this plain, this sort of desolate plain in like southern Asia Minor for the rest of his time, blind and destitute, and he fell into a thorn bush and just had a miserable life as punishment for his hubris. I think Hesiod said that he died devouring his own soul.
That sounds about right. I mean, when you have that much hubris that, like, I'm going to beat Zeus. I'm going to, be the ruler of everybody up on Mount Olympus. I think we got to make a lesson out of you, right? So, yeah.
Boy. I disagree. But that's what's cool about Kratos.
Yeah.
Because he is the syncretation, the concation. He's the combination.
There we go.
Of a lot of Greek heroes, and the tropes that are there and the aspects of them. Yep. And if you want to know more about that, every 12 p.m. Central Time, weekdays, I'm playing God of War Ragnarok on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/JustEnoughTrope. Talking about nerd stuff and killing gods.
Yeah.
Norse gods.
Right.
Greek gods all dead already.
Yeah, you already took care of that.
So anyway, that's Bellerophon. He's an enigmatic figure. Euripides wrote a play about him. It has not survived.
Oh.
But the commentary on it has survived.
Interesting.
And there is a scene, probably like the real, this crisis, the turning point scene, before he goes to Olympus, where Bellerophon has this speech about how the gods aren't that great and they ignore the suffering of humans. They probably don't even exist. Like this really sort of pointed kind of monologue. And that's one reason that Aristophanes called him an atheist.
Oh, okay.
A lot of his plays do sort of challenge what
called
the gods
Euripides
are doing.
An atheist?
Yeah, Euripides is like...
Okay, I thought you meant Bellerophon.
No. Bellerophon, he found out the hard way.
Right.
Not true.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Can confirm, do exist.
And Pegasus, I don't know. I just apparently that's pretty much it for the myth of Pegasus. Although obviously winged horse cool became a motif in a lot of art going forward. There is a ton of art, jars, mosaics, surviving just images of him. Here's an interesting note before I wrap up. Pegasus is often associated with Perseus. In fact, if you watch that Harry Hamlin movie or the Sam Worthington one, what does he have? Winged horse. He's got Pegasus. Yeah, given to him by Athena. That doesn't make any sense because he has to kill Medusa before there even is a Pegasus.
There is a Pegasus.
And nobody really knows why this happened. Pegasus and Bellerophon are both monster killer heroes, and they are related kind of by a long road. Perseus is the son of Zeus and Danae. I think that's the one that had the golden shower. He was birthed from a golden shower, making that what you will.
Yep.
I didn't write it. And so I think it was in the Middle Ages, like in the Renaissance, when they were using this stuff for art, somebody just started putting like Perseus on Pegasus with the head of the Gorgon. And he's like, get all the accessories.
Right.
And so Bellerophon kind of got pushed out. And so nowadays it's anybody's guess whether it's going to be who's riding Pegasus.
Well, Perseus is just, cooler, right? And he didn't have all that not so fun hubris, right?
Yeah, Perseus is all right.
I'm just kidding. I don't really care either way. I just mean that like maybe that's one reason why he has persisted and plus you were saying like
I don't think Perseus
is cool.
Yeah, and we don't have to get into it right now, but like Perseus didn't have quite the bad end that Bellerophon did. Bellerophon ends up he did a lot of cool stuff, but what do we remember? I don't know if Icarus might have been you got an A on all his math tests, but we remember that idiot flew into the sun,
right? And
that was it. So Bellerophon became a cautionary tale about the gods. But as far as I know, Perseus killed a lot of people, not just monsters, people, but then set up shop with Andromeda and was a good king as far as I know. So, yeah. So there you go.
All right.
Cal's mythology mania.
Yes.
Oh, and at one point, of course, Pegasus became a constellation.
I'm sorry, one more time?
At one point, Pegasus became a constellation.
Oh, right. I think I knew that. When did that happen?
No, 1924.
Oh, I see. Okay. But they were just like, and that looks like a horse, a winged horse. So
you mean, okay. No, I don't know. I'm talking, I don't know. Bob Johnson in AD 1001. No, I mean, Zeus placed him in the heavens as a constellation.
Okay.
And once you're there, your jersey's retired at that point.
Oh.
Right?
Well.
So he must have used him as his, lightning bolt bearer for a while. Yeah. But then once you install somebody in the heavens, that's kind of like you're
done.
Emeritus at that point.
You're a good boy.
It's all right, boy. So there you go.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. I learned a lot.
A lot of fictional murder.
Yeah.
Instead of real life treachery and skullduggery.
Pegasus didn't do any murdering, so that's cool.
No, Pegasus is like, look, I dropped some boulders. I don't know where they land.
Yeah, right.
I'm like a drone.
Me out of
It's not my fault. Some humans pulling the trigger.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Unless they live in San Francisco.
What?
So there's a story. It's like you're on the internet, but you're not like on the internet. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There was a story recently about how San Francisco had voted to put guns on their police drones. And everybody's like, what's up?
No.
And then the police chief of San Francisco came out and said, no, don't get it twisted. We're putting bombs on our robots.
How is that better?
I know, right?
Do you hear yourself?
And so I don't know if a robot I know a robot broke a chess player's hand, but I don't think a robot has yet killed anybody in the line of duty, in the line of protecting and serving. So as soon as that happens, we're going to start having these conversations about ethics, aren't we?
That is just like a horrible idea. Like,
yeah.
I don't know in what world is that a good idea?
It's a terrible idea. And they called it Pegasus.
No, don't say
true.
that.
No, that's not true. I can't back that up.
So, we are going to actually take some extended shore leave, and we will be taking the rest of December off.
Yeah.
And we will be back on Friday, January 6th, with a brand new episode where we will be talking about episode number 131. Pegasusu wo torareru Amazon no wana in Japanese. Catch Pegasus, the Amazon's Trap, the English translation, and the English title, Baiting the Trap.
Careful, Pegasus.
Yeah.
Bring a lot of boulders with you.
Yeah, right. I think you mentioned before, is this where you think that possibly like the connection between Amazon?
Why would you have Amazons? It makes they're not even women. So why would it?
I don't know.
Do you know what I mean?
And I think that Nako would
like I haven't seen
on that.
I haven't seen the entire season yet, but yeah, I would have to imagine. Mm-hmm. We just wanted to just enjoy December. We worked really hard this year, putting things together and producing the show, and we're going to continue producing Patreon stuff, obviously. So we'll be doing Animatification throughout the month of December.
Yes. And
then returning to Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon live action and finishing that up as 2023 dawns. But in the meantime, we just need a chance to kind of catch up on stuff. And I'm sure the holidays are crazy for everybody. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure that you've got that going on too, wherever you are. So, I'm sure we'll say it at the end of the year, but I just want to say thanks to the listeners and thanks to the fans for being the wind beneath our horse wings.
Oh my God, I can't believe you said that. That's great.
You ever know that you're my hero?